My name is Maziar. Some of you might know me as Maz, not Oz, Maz, not Maze, Maz, not Max. Well, hey, listen, we're going to get it right one of these days and everything's going to be all right. See, listen, I'm not here to talk about my name. I'm here to talk about his name because his name is the one before the one. His name is the name before Abraham. And he calls himself I am. You see, I'm not who you think I am. I am not here just to resonate or wonder if you appreciate what I'm about to oritate or perpetuate, what God has sent me here to delegate. Listen, I'm not going to take up your time like Nixon did with Watergate. So if we're here just to resonate, our sound will dissipate. So instead of dissipating, let's get our hearts for breaking for what breaks his. See, the problem is not that we don't know God. The problem is that we prayerfully micromanage God into a God box like an Xbox and lock it up tighter than Fort Knox. See, I just want to communicate that you don't have to alienate the one born of a virgin named Mary like he's some expired dairy, because he who is greater doesn't care if you're a big fat hater, because he can mitigate what the devil tries to litigate. And he who is the author doesn't care if you're a big talker, because he is the Alpha and the Omega, while the devil's not even worthy to be a beta. So here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for, the main event. Okay, here's my testimony. You might think it's kind of phony baloney, but that's probably because you're sitting there maybe on your Apple or Android smartphone thinking about what you want to post instead of being a gracious host. See, I came to know him briefly back in 07 when I thought I just had to get high to be in heaven. See, it started with a history professor that I accepted this invitation of spiritual salvation. See, I thought this was a done deal, like a Happy Meal, when I would get to play with my favorite comic book hero. Instead, it turned out to be colder than absolute zero. See, the reason my salvation didn't stick is because I didn't want it to. I was afraid of what I thought God might do, so I ended up getting higher than 747s, and I wanted to feel like I was king of the heavens. See, I enjoyed the drugs because it gave me these false hugs. These false hugs felt more and more like little bed bugs. They drove me to the movies, and the showing was called My Breaking Point. See, this breaking point was my game over, but see, my game over is not like yours, okay? See, my game over is it's like yours. You press start and continue, and then you go to the main menu. My game over is different. My game over was my so-called suicide, where now I see was just the devil's tactic on my mental, which was mortified. Those 4.5 years of depravity made me think this is what I was born to be, but God has shown me now, 6 years later, that the woman named Joyce didn't have a choice, that the time was up. I didn't even have a chance to say, what? He introduced me to this woman who I now call my wife, who I like to say is the love of my life. But those words don't give justice to all my love for her, because my love for my wife is minimal when compared to the love of Christ. See, his love is not something we can comprehend. His love holds no record of right or wrong or whether we belong. His love can change a moment. His love can find us in those late hours when we're on our way home from work and you feel like a jerk. His love is the only power that can reach me way back in 14. His love is what I heard while listening to Michael Jr., who talked with some humor. It's what caused me to pick up what he was dropping when he quotes Matthew 10:32-33. So everyone who acknowledges me before my Father, who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But everyone who denies me before men, I will also deny before my Father in heaven. See, it was on the cross during his death is when Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. For what they do is what we do, and what we do is causes us to not even have a Blues Clue, because when we don't even have a Blues Clue, we say, I'm perfect in Christ, I'm worth it in Christ. True! But we say, I can't sin in Christ. When we say, I can't sin in Christ, the enemy is already working on a win. You kind of know it. It's the first sin. It's so common. It's a detergent. Maybe you've heard of it. I don't know. It's called pride. See, it's not something you want to ride because it will be your demise. You might be thinking, I didn't know Maz could rap. I don't even know how to dap. And see, You might be thinking, I wish Miles would stop rhyming, but hey, I can't help it. I just understand timing. Listen, okay, here we go. This is not rhyming. It's not about perfect timing. It's about the one and only who is perfect. It's about the one and only who is worth it. He's worth it because he did what no one else would do. He got up off the throne, and turned to the Father and said, send me. You see, he's the only one and true God who became flesh, so we don't have to live in our mess. So let's not digress. You see, we get it confused, thinking that we learn off this theology of what God ought to be, then we'll be in right standing with his theocracy. God doesn't want us just standing demanding what this verse ought to be saying because we turn out confused and think we're amusing. The only thing that should amuse us is the word. The word, you see, the word is not the bird and the bird is not the word, because the word that was spoken could never be broken according to prophecy. You see? Okay, so here it goes. The word was spoken and the word became birthed of a virgin named Mary, and it would be cast aside like pesticide. So how do I end this? How about like this? See, we think as long as we say, I got Christ, things are going to be nice. But if we just say, I know Christ, things will soon turn to ice. It's sort of like Frozen, where you'll ask, do you want to build a snowman? But there will actually be no man, because without Christ, you are in no man's land. You might not have been through what I have been through, but we've all been through what we've been through. We've all been through what we've been through because Christ is trying to get us to where he wants to get us to, the Father. Maybe you're not going through a struggle right now. It's taking everything inside of you maybe not to break down right now. I'm here to tell you that your struggle does not define you. Your struggle will be behind you. Your struggle is not your outcome. Your struggle is going to be outdone by God's Son. Your struggle is what God will use. Your struggle is what will be your muse. Okay? Your struggle is developing something like a Kodak picture. Did you know that, mister? That something is called character. God is in the struggle, but he doesn't cause the trouble. He is your salvation, but salvation is not just for this nation. He is your provider, kind of like Knight Rider. He is your 911 prayer when you think that there's no way out of there. God is your Father who is a Redeemer, who shows you don't need that kind of demeanor, which can be meaner, because our demeanor won't get us spiritually leaner. It will happen by getting enticed by the same Spirit that was in Christ. Amen.